Maker, that mom with a laser here, and the busy season is almost here. If things have been slow in your shop, you better get ready because the hustle is here. The next couple of videos I'm gonna roll out are gonna be specifically on products that are time sensitive that you can be selling right now in your shop for back to school. We're gonna start with something simple, with a product that is easy to make and flying off the shelves, and those are personalized pencils. So, are you ready? Let's go. But first, it's time for cafecito. It's time for cafecito. It's time for cafecito. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Okay, Maker, so the first thing that I want to do is create a jig because I'm planning on making a ton of these and I don't want to have to mess with having to line stuff up under the laser. So the easiest thing to do is create kind of like a template to make this as efficient as possible. I'm going to go ahead and use some 1/8 of an inch whiteboard that I already had on hand because it's cheap and I really don't want to waste my good stuff. Some people like to use cardboard. I think I want to use something a little more durable, so I'm going to use this. Now it's really easy to make your own jig. So I'm just gonna make my own and I'm gonna teach you guys how to do it. Super simple. All you need are a pair of calipers, a ruler, and your pencil. So I like to use the caliper to get as precise as I can. So I'm just gonna go ahead and measure the width of my pencil. In this case, it's 0.23. And I'm gonna take my ruler to just measure the length of the pencil. In this case, it's just roughly 7.5 inches. So I'm gonna take those measurements and I'm gonna jump into Lightburn and make my jig.
All right, guys, so it's time to go ahead and create the template. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a rectangle to the size of the material that I have on hand. Remember I said I'm just using some cheap whiteboard that I already had, and that piece happens to be 25.5 inches by approximately 16 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and take that. I'm going to position it where I want it on my laser bed. And now I need to create the little slots for my pencil. And I'm just going to create another rectangle and put it to the dimensions that I measured just a few minutes ago. So the length of the pencil was 7.5 inches by 0.23. There we go. That is the slot for my pencil. Now all I need to do is duplicate this so that I can create as many slots in this piece of material that I have. Here I have 2 of them. I'm going to duplicate them again. I'm using the down arrow on my keyboard to position them right below each other. I'm going to duplicate these 2 one more time, and you'll see why in just a minute. So right now I have 6 slots for pencils, and I'm going to be selling these in packs of 12. So I'm going to duplicate this 6, push it all the way down, and now I have a dozen pencil spots. Now I'm just going to duplicate another dozen, and one last time, and there we go. Now I can fit 3 dozen going down. Now I'm going to grab all of them, duplicate them one more time, use the arrow on my keyboard to the right, duplicate this one more time because I think I can fit another 3 dozen. Perfect.
Now that my jig is ready, I'm going to go ahead and take my material and push it to the far left corner of my laser bed. This way I always know where to put it. Then I'm going to move the nozzle all the way to the far right corner so I always know where to start my job. Now I'm just going to frame my job, make sure it falls on my material, and get ready to cut.
Now that I have my jig ready, I need to go ahead and place the names that I'm going to be engraving onto these pencils. So make sure that you are picky about the fonts that you use. I'm going to use Better Caramel. It's one of my go-to fonts. And we're going to pretend that this student's name is Melissa Stanley. That sounds good. And I'm going to go ahead and position it where I want it to engrave on the pencil. Remember, I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to make sure that the eraser is on the right so that when the child is holding the pencil, they can read their name and that it's not flipped the other direction. So this looks about good. I'll frame it to make sure that it falls where I want it to on the pencil. Now I'm going to use that same method to duplicate. I've got 2 names. I'm just using my down arrow to move it down. Duplicate again, 2 more. Now I have 6, so I'm going to grab all 6 of them and duplicate. So now I have a dozen pencils for this student. I'm going to grab them all and send them off to my machine and engrave this order. Let's go.
As always, don't forget to focus any new material you begin to work with. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and set my pencil underneath the autofocus sensor. Once it's ready, I can go ahead and set my pencils in place, frame my job, and get to engraving. one trick that I used to make things a little easier was to tape my orders by the dozen. This way, I could keep my orders organized and quickly wipe off the residue. At first, I just used water and a rag, but then a girlfriend suggested using Totally Awesome from the dollar store, and that worked even better. That's it. Then I could peel off my order, keep it together, rotate some new pencils, and then go package the ones that I've already finished.
That's it, we did it, Maker. Some awesome personalized pencils for kids as they get ready to go back to school this August. I feel like this is a really important season for kids. They've been out of school for a long time, and I know I as a parent want to make this transition as smooth and as positive for my kid as I possibly can. You and I as makers, we have the ability to create products that will help with that transition. So I've got more content coming your way. If you haven't subscribed or follow me already, make sure you do, and I'll see you guys here soon over at That Mom with a Laser.